What's up, everybody? This is Mr. Straight Fact Show. Today, we're going to talk about a couple things in the news. I'm going to try my best to just kind of go in detail, and what I do best is kind of go in detail on certain topics, and all the rest of them, I'm just not going to handle everything that goes on. I find myself often, trying to cover all the somewhat important topics, but I do best by going deep and diving in on one topic or two, not a lot. So what we're going to go in today, very short, it's going to be about meritocracy versus Pete Hegseth. You'll see the whole gigantic difference. It's amazing how this country has went about saying, that meritocracy means you have the merit. Know what it is, but we all know it. It literally means, from what the Republican, like Trump, MAGA people call it, when they use that word, they literally mean white men. White men are supposed to have merit based upon their whiteness. That's it. It ain't got nothing to do whether they know the job or not. They just deserve it because they're white men. And specifically, these types of white men are the racist ones. These are racist types that think, I am very knowledgeable, right? Now, and then we're going to dive into Social Security, right? Because I really wanted to get a grasp on that for people. Many people may know, but there are some things I didn't know that I'm going to share, okay? Hi, Catherine. How you doing? So we're going to start out with meritocracy. Now, Donald Trump and his minions have been trying to tell us for the past, 10 years maybe, but very strong with this last election, that meritocracy meant, based on them, if I get on a plane and I see a black pilot, I'm worried that we're going to crash because I think they got the job because there was some, give a black person an opportunity day, even though they're not qualified. So therefore I'm worried, even though most of the pilots are white and the majority of the accidents that happen are from white men. But doesn't matter. In their head, they keep telling the world, oh, people of color, which most people of color know, we got to be 10 times better than your best white male anything. So if you find a black person, more than likely, in a position where white men mostly get, I guarantee you can match that black person, that Latin person, or that woman up to that white male. And they're like 10 times at minimum better than that white male that you think is the best pilot. I guarantee it, because that's the way they were raised. They were raised to believe they had to be better. The white male never was raised that he had to be better. He just went off his own merit. He had nobody to go up against. You feel me? So when you think about that, you would think that a black person or Latin person or Asian or a woman who's getting an opportunity where white men only got, that they would bust their ass to get it and be qualified, overly qualified, because they don't want to hear nothing coming out of that racist or sexist or whatever white male's mouth about their inability to do it. So more than likely, they're better at their job than the average male, white male. That I have found to be true in my personal life. I don't know about yours, but that's what I found in mine. Now, we're going to get to just the hypocrisy of this meritocracy. Now, I done told people throughout my social media this past couple years that Donald Trump and his minions, they think of meritocracy meaning a white male is automatically better than anybody else. But they make it seem as though the way they try to sell it is that they want somebody qualified. And it's like, yeah, we do. But here's the thing. Here's something that I think I need our media to be covering right the hell now. Pete Hegseth literally let private, secret information out via a text on an app that is not government approved. They talked about Hillary forever with her emails. She never sent out classified information. And had she, oh man, they would have pulled a Mike Pence on her. But she had documents. She had a server, which they were worried about documents getting out on this server. Possibly. And then out of nowhere, they let go of classified documents and information, rather, about a war, basically, plans for Yemen. And it was given to an Atlantic journalist. He was in on the actual text, in which they are out for everybody to see. I'm sure he covered most of the stuff that's happening that he wasn't supposed to put out. But the reason why he knew that it was real is because the actual war plans and where they were going to hit turned out to be a hit in this document. And you want to tell me about meritocracy? You got an idiot called Pete Hegseth. I mean, think about this for a hot second. Pete Hegseth was on Fox weekend show. If you know anything, I was in media and in the news for almost 20 years. People who work on the weekend are people that they don't necessarily trust to work during the week. They're getting their chops together. He wasn't even the main person on the weekend. He was a sidekick. You trying to tell me Mr. Sidekick, alcoholic, is a sexual abuser? That dude you want to put in the head of our military. And in his first action, this dipshit sends it out to the news. Who else he sent it to that didn't say anything? We don't know. And then the head dipshit in chief gets out on a camera and says, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't a clue. What is it you mean? What do you say? Oh, it's about the Houthi? Yeah, talking about our war plans? Yeah, it must not been that bad because we still hit them. It was a successful hit. That's not the point, dipshit. The point is it was out there. The point is that it should have never been you hired a dumbass. And now you're trying to cover up and say you didn't know. I'll be damned if Mr. Dictator Wannabe didn't know what was going on in his freaking house. He did know. He just too chicken shit to tell the world, oop, we fucked up. No, he's going to try and blame it on somebody else. You notice this man never takes responsibility for jack. Oh, I don't know about that. Oh, I don't know about that. What do you know about Dip? What do you know about? No leader, even at a restaurant, you can't sit here and tell me that the manager don't know what's going on. That manager getting written up if something tragic happened to the business. Oh, how did this worm get in the meat? I wasn't there. I don't know. No, you're fired. There's no and this is way harsher than worms getting in somebody's meat and handing it to somebody. This shit's right here, people getting unalive possibly, and the fact that they now have access to everything this man is going to do. He's got to get rid of Signal. Because they tapped into his shit. They don't have it under any kind of skiff, nothing. This shit is highly fucked up. We haven't heard anything that happened to these people yet. But we will see. We will see if anything happens. Hey, Emma, how you doing, Vera? And it's just insane. I mean, this is the same dude that was at some event, official event, with an alcoholic beverage in his hand, drinking it since he's been in his position. As he's talking to the public and whomever he's in front of, some officials, he's got a drink in his hand. Dark liquor, it looks like. I know damn sure he wasn't drinking it out of one of those glasses. He was drinking, a sweet tea. Seeing as how he's an alcoholic, he's drinking on the job. And then brings in Elon Musk into a meeting that he should not have been into. And then now he's texting the writers of freaking The Atlantic, a journalist. And I mean, how do you make that mistake? How do you get on a personal app that everybody in the country can use and talk about military information? All of them, not just him. Every last person that was in that building that was on that text should be gone tomorrow. But see, they believe in this meritocracy, which means you can have a bunch of dipshit white men pretend and go play like they know what the fuck they're doing and get paid to do abso-fucking-lutely nothing. There is no reason these men should still have a job. They shouldn't be there right this minute. The second they did this and it was found out, all of them should have been fired and new people should have been hired. Bring somebody up until you replace them. But there's no way the idiot alcoholic and all his friends on Signal should still be there. Every last one of them knew this shit belonged in a skiff, not on a fucking play out social media app. Because you got to think about it. No matter whose app it is, They have that data. They talk about it disappearing. It don't really disappear. That company still has that data. You can't go off of possibly they deleted it. You don't know that. And you don't know what was captured before it was deleted. Obviously, we got it. If we got it, it didn't disappear fast enough. Meritocracy is dead. Whenever they mention meritocracy, all you got to think of is they're talking about dumbass, racist white men that are sexist white men who got positions in which they should not have. Because on their resumes, it does not match the position in which they have. And nobody, not you, not me, would have a job where our resume doesn't match. If they wanted him to be press secretary, oh, he got that down. He's in the media. But if you want him to be the head of the military, you get what you pay for. Just like anything else. If I'm going to buy a TV and they tell me I can get 2 for $75, you best believe that TV is only going to work for 10 minutes before it falls the fuck apart. If they tell me it's 4K, you better believe it's going to be 4K half the day. The rest of the day, it's going to be crap. If I bought it for that low, you get what you pay for. You got an alcoholic news weekend guy who just talked fluff, never really made any sense on his show, sycophant, that has no education in the position in which he's in. And he's supposed to be a pro, somebody who comes into a job and handles business, yet he don't know what business he's handling because he's never done it before. I mean, who gets on the job training for military experience? On the job. Okay, here, come here. Let me show you what you really do. This is how you strategize. The fuck is that? Who does that? Only white men in this country get that type of position in which you don't know what the hell you're doing, yet you're the leader. I've never heard of this type of thing. Even in the real world, you still would bring people in and knew a little bit about something. They may not be at your professional level, but they may have an understanding of it. They wonder why earlier this month, or like a week or so ago, Pete Hegseth had Elon Musk in there talking about battle plans. You know why he's doing it? Because he don't know what the fuck he's doing. He think Elon Musk know a lot. So he's like asking him, so am I doing it right? Is this how we do it? That fool don't know. He over there playing with spoons and shit, doing this shit. What the fuck is that? He's sitting there trying to impress a woman and shit with a spoon. This is who y'all fucking think's a genius? This dude is a genius. Standing there looking at it like, oh, look at that. It levitates. Complete, utter idiots. Dude, go work on some coding or something. You may be good at that. But regular life shit? The hell? Mr. Levitate a spoon to impress a woman in front of him. Look what I'm doing. Look what I'm doing. Wow. Had you seen a woman do that? Had you seen a person of color do that? Had you seen a black person do that? Had you seen Obama do that? Had you seen Biden do that? Had you seen Hillary Clinton do that? Had you seen anybody else do that type of shit? Y'all would be losing your freaking minds. But your self-proclaimed genius literally sat at a table and acted like powder. I don't know if you ever seen that movie. Didn't get a lot of play. Powder was about a kid who his mom got electrocuted when he was a baby. He came out with no skin color. He was grayed out. He's very gray. And throughout his life, just because he had electricity drawn to him, he pulled that same trick in a movie of levitating some shit because he had electricity and he could just bring spoons to him and shit and hold it. This dude's trying to do centrifugal force or some bullshit. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You're supposed to be some kind of official. What are you doing? You look like a fifth grader who just got his little cheese sandwich and just took his forks and started playing with them. Jazzy Jim, you own that movie? Yeah, Just Rush. Yeah, not too many people know about that movie. That was a gem, man. I understand some stuff happened with the director way before he spent some time doing something, so everybody kind of like pushed it out of the theaters. But it was a good movie. I liked the movie. But I'm telling y'all, it is the craziest thing that we have these people in power. The orange cretin, the alcoholic rapist. It's where did our morals go? I know we still have them, but I'm talking about people in this country decided to put a 34-time felon, no morality, no loyalty, doesn't even like America from what it seems. He glorifies dictatorships or dictators. Nothing that pertains to America is in his like glorification. Everything about America he complains about. I'm like, leave. If you don't like it, leave. You can go anywhere you want. As rich as you are, Trump, bounce. Hand it over to somebody else and leave. You don't ever have anything good to say about America. Leave. Isn't that what they tell us? We got a problem with it, leave. You got a problem with America all the time, trying to change it to whatever mold you want it to be. Why don't you leave and go to a country that's already molded like that? You can go to North Korea. He already loves you. You guys send love letters to each other. Go to Russia and see how they treat you. If you don't like America so much, go over there. See how long you'll last over there before he puts some kind of poison dart through your ass because of the fact that you can't have two people in there trying to have power. Yeah. Guys always complaining about the country in the sense of it's not, something's wrong. I'm like, okay, then fix it. Oh, no, you ain't gonna fix it. You're just gonna bitch about it and try and rob other people. Grifting. President that sells everything from gold coins to action cards and shit. It's just insane. Insane. I don't get it. But anyway, Americans, you dipshits voted for him. Not all you, but some of you. Too many of you, to be honest. Too many of you. Now you're starting to find out you hired the dipshit in chief. And then he went about hiring people who were dumb as him and even more dumb. They look up to him. What does that say? A man who won't even show you how smart he is. He'll go around telling you everything. I got genes. Like, okay, what are you talking about? Levi's? No, I believe in genes. See, my uncle was smart, therefore I am. That alone makes you a dipshit. Your uncle's smart. Therefore you are. We know that's not true. 100% we know that's not true. But we got people in this country that'll listen to that shit and won't discredit somebody. They give them credit. This is a shit show, I'm telling you. I can't believe people literally believe in this man. I'm like, wow, you guys are remedial if you believe that a person's genes makes him a genius. There's only one in his family. You would think if it was going through the genes, all the people in the family would have some kind of genius. Donald Trump's stupid. And he won't even prove that he's a genius. Remember, he had Obama try to prove that he was a citizen. And then when people asked him, well, then prove you're such a genius. Let's see, like your records at school. Then he had Michael Cohen sue the college. You don't show my records. No doubt, because you're a straight F student. That's why. Who doesn't like to show off their A's? I made straight A's. I would love people to see mine. Go for it. But no, you don't want them to be seen because you're a fucking idiot. And these people, they believe in idiocy because it makes them feel like they're smart too, without the homework. I often get in my comment section people who don't do their homework. And then they'll just tell me what they think is true. And I'll say, okay, I understand. Now, give me some facts because I just gave you a good 5-minute, 12-minute, 17-minute tape of facts mixed with my feeling about that fact. Fact, feeling about that fact. And fackety fact. Then you come on feelings. Where your facts at? They disappear after you ask them for facts. They really think they got you by coming on and saying, I don't necessarily believe you. I'm like, okay, then show me where the other proof is at. I can guarantee you, not 1% of the time, not 70% of the time, not 99% of the time, 100% of the time, they'll never bring you facts because their feelings outweigh the facts. And when they go and find out they're wrong, they'll never come back and say, oh man, you was right. Somebody's calling me. I got to disconnect this. Hold on for a second. I need to stop them from calling me. What's going on? Oh. Sorry about that. Business as it is. But as we go through it, this is a phone line. Go through this. We're going to have to deal with it. What Social Security. Today was one of the biggest topics was that information being leaked about the war plans in Yemen. That was one. And the other, people were talking about Social Security. Now, oftentimes we have Social Security issues where Republicans mostly, but I'm not going to leave out Democrats because a lot of things happen under Democrats too. But Republicans have been trying to get rid of Social Security for the longest time. And, you know, always trying to revamp it or something like that. So I was like, we need to go deep into what this Social Security was about. Because if we don't know and we just guess it or we just assume we know, then, you know, we're not really learning. We're just kind of like going off of what we think we learned in school and what they may or may not have covered. Unless you're some kind of historian, then you may know way more than us. But as we start to do this, we're going to start to learn more. IQ 73 sounds about right. Just Russ said 73 is still too high. Okay, so we're about to go and watch Franklin D. Roosevelt when the Social Security Act was passed in 1935. It was just kind of coming out of the Depression. And they created this Social Security Act. Now, I made a video a few years back ago on YouTube. It was talking about how these programs were created, like Social Security Act, unemployment, all these different things like that. They weren't called entitlement programs back in the 30s. When they created these programs, just to understand, these programs were mostly, not mostly, were about white people only. So when you start to hear about these programs in 1935 trying to help people from, you know, the Depression and all stuff like that, black people were not included in that. It was only white people. So when it didn't start to become a entitlement program until black people and people of color later on, like in the 60s, near the late 60s, were allowed to get in on these programs. As soon as they were allowed to get in, all people were allowed to get in. Then it became an entitlement program. Before, it was just the America's responsibility to its people. And then when black people got in, oh, such an entitlement, we got to get over with. Got to get it over. Nope, stop it. So this came out around that time, 1935, and it was the FDR's Social Security Act of 1935. We're going to watch where he signed it. It's going to be black and white, square, and what he said right after he signed it, okay? So we get a little history lesson coming up here, if I can get this set up properly. Let's see, we got that there. Yeah, it should be good.
Today, a hope of many years' standing is in large part fulfilled. The civilization of the past 100 years, with its startling industrial changes, has tended more and more to make life insecure. Young people have come to wonder what would be their lot when they came to old age. The man with a job has wondered how long the job would last. This Social Security measure gives at least some protection to 50 millions of our citizens who will reap direct benefits through unemployment compensation, through old age pensions, and through increased services for the protection of children and the prevention of ill health. We can never insure 100% of the population against 100% of the hazards and vicissitudes of life, but we have tried to frame a law which will give some measure of protection to the average citizen and to his family against the loss of a job and against poverty-stricken old age. It seems to me that if the Senate and the House of Representatives in this long and arduous session had done nothing more than pass this security bill, Social Security Act, the session would be regarded as historic for all time.
Okay. So now that we know that FDR, it was signed under him, we also should understand that the Social Security Act was for the people. Again, it was only for white people. We're going to get past that. Now that it's for all people, is that it was really a plan for the American people to have this trust fund, so to speak. It was never meant to be a part of our deficit, our budget. It was never meant to be that. Now, it was supposed to be like a dedicated trust fund. And not until 1968, you saw that movie, 1968, the Unified Budget Act, and it was signed by LBJ. That allowed our Social Security system or program to be attached to our budget. So prior to 1968, it was not a part of our budget. So if they were going to say that we spent $2 trillion and we brought in only like 1.8 trillion, so we're under, $200 billion, or we're over our budget by $200 billion. Then that would be our deficit. Okay. So we're $200 billion in debt. So which means we have to get money from somewhere else, whether loans or whatever it may be, to be able to cover our budget, to be able to pay what we have in our budget. So what happened is that, and this has happened since 1968, it's been happening ever since. Oftentimes we are told, I remember we were told under Bush that we had a surplus of our budget, that they could give us all the tax break, right? And we got tax dollars back. I remember that clearly, okay? Even Reagan did it. And I'm sure at the same time we had Clinton. And so it's about all of our government, not just Republicans. Democrats too, independents included, they had to vote as well, but they didn't have that much power, so don't get it twisted. But what happened was that we had this like secured trust fund type of thing and that's what it was supposed to be about. If we get hurt, just like FDR said, we should have some kind of fund that's going to help us. Now, they did not build this as a tax. In fact, they told the people that it wasn't a tax. It was literally money that was going to go in and kind of grow interest with America, and at whatever interest that is. And therefore, it will always be there for the people. We were paying into this so that it'd help us, that when we retired, we had this Social Security benefit. Now, we've been having back and forth. Not feeling well. All right, take care, Jessica. Oh, Jennifer, I'm sorry. Not feeling well. Catch you on the other. Thank you. You're very welcome. You take care. Hope you feel better. So we had this, our taxes. They thought they never billed it as a tax. And so people thought, American citizens thought, that this money was just going to be there for them. And that's why everybody happily paid into it. And that's what they billed us the entire time. But not until 1968 did they blend it with our budget. And they did it so that it would look like we had more money in our budget. So they took our surplus, the money that was just there to be growing and growing and growing and growing just for us to retire and be able to pay for. They took that and they put it on the budget and say, oh, look, we got whatever amount of number. Let's just say we got, we really only made from the people $4 trillion, right? So then they'll take that $2 trillion from Social Security after 1968 and they'll tack it on. We made $6 trillion and we can use the $6 trillion toward the budget. Well, no, you can't, because our Social Security is not attached to the budget. until 1968. So when they attached it to the budget, they made it look like we had more money. And then you had these terrible, terrible, and non-conservative. They've never been fiscally conservative, ladies and gentlemen. Never. They took these things and gave us tax cuts from our own Social Security. Did anybody know that? Did they tell Americans that's what they were doing? No, this stuff was done in the heat of the night. These things were not voted on in public. These things were done behind the scenes. Behind the scenes. Whenever they ask us, or they didn't even ask us, they tell us that, Social Security is going to be insolvent in so long and so this and that and the third. It's like, that ain't our problem. That is literally not the American people's fault. That is you, the people we elected, our presidents, our senators, our congressmen and women. Those of you who voted on being able to put this money alongside the budget, and it was just there for visuals, not really there for you to spend. They started spending our money. Now, here's the thing. I remember recently, I don't know if you guys saw it on YouTube or not, or TikTok. I forgot where I saw it at. But I want to say, and I'm not going to put the athlete out there because I want to say who I know, who was one of the basketball athletes. I'm not going to mention it. You may have seen it. But this athlete said that when he got rich and got his contract, he didn't trust banks. So what he did was he took his money and he put it under his mattress at his home. He said, I admit it. I had millions of dollars under my mattress. I had to do it, what I'm saying, because I didn't trust the banks. And he was too young. He got into the league as a teenager or something like that. So he didn't trust it. And so he put this money under his mattress. Now, he had a girlfriend or someone he was really close with. And he told that girl, hey, if you need some money, you want to go out and buy some stuff like that, go under the mattress. Just leave me a note what you took and all stuff like that. And he was like, and they agreed upon that. And then what made him decide to start putting his money in a bank was because he came and looked under his mattress one day and there was a bunch of folded papers. I mean, a lot. And it was like, whatever, owe you a car, owe you this, owe you that, and all these IOUs. So he's like, wait a minute, I got to put my money in banks because this ain't going to work. All these IOUs this person owes me. Well, that person's not an NBA star. So that person's not going to be able to pay you back for that car and this and that. So that's just pretty much gone. All right? That is exactly what's happened to our Social Security. They took our money out with a bunch of IOUs, a bunch of promissory notes. Oh, we'll pay it back. We'll pay it back with interest. We'll pay it back. We'll pay it back. We'll pay it back. And every one of these times, it was either for a war, tax cuts, tax breaks like they're trying to get now. They want to save. They're like, oh, we're going through the government and trying to get $2 trillion so basically we can give it back to the American people. No, how about you pay off your debts to the American people and put that money where it belongs, in the Social Security area, because that's our money, right? They are literally, let me look at the notes. The government owes you. I'm gonna ask y'all a question so we can, let me put up I haven't done a poll in a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and do this poll real quick. I'm gonna ask you guys how much you think. Oops. Uh, I'm gonna do it. Give me a second. I wasn't playing this, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it instead of make this kind of interactive. Uh, All right, so see if I can add this in here to do it. All right, cool. Let's see if I can do it. Let me know if you guys see this. And let me know what you think. How much you think our government owes us via Social Security? How much you think they owe us back? I'll see y'all in a minute. Give me the answer. What's up, Woke Mike? I say, what's up? I know Rude had what's up, Rude? Had a job and kept the job for years. What's up, Vera? You know, I'm gonna try this thing. I just got this software that's supposed to let me know your comments. I can put them up on the screen. I don't know if it's gonna work, but let's just see and see if I can put that up there. What does that do? My app would be like, I don't know if I can see it or not. Should I take it? How do you take it? No, don't do that. All right, I don't know how that's gonna work, but all right. I try to get this thing to be able to put your comments up on the screen. I don't know how, if it'll let me do it or not, but let me see.
Today,
Nope, that ain't it. Yeah. Anyway, I got to keep working on it, but we'll go through it. Let's see. We're gonna let this. We're gonna end it here in a second. 46% says 500 billion, 5 trillion, and I'm gonna end the poll right now. 46% said 500 billion, 23%, and 31%. It is literally, I end it right now. They owe us, the government owes us 2.8 trillion. I didn't get the 8 in there. $2.8 trillion is how much they owe us in IOUs. And they don't want to pay it back. So they're always talking to us about it's going to go, you know, it's going to absolve itself, that, you know, that they're not going to be able to pay it. Whose fault is that? That's not the American people's fault, right? It wasn't our fault you took our money out. We didn't tell you that. It's the same thing as if I took money and put it in the bank, right? And the bank told me, well, I can't really give you your money back. I'm like, what you mean you can't give my money back? I gave you my money. My money should be growing. I've seen it on the account that it's growing. You can't give me my money back. Why not? Well, we spent it. Then unspend it. Take it from somewhere else. But it's not my fault you spent my money. All right? And they're like, oh, well, look at the fine print. And that's what it is for our government. Look at the fine print. They literally told us that they took our money out. They haven't told you, you got to do your research on this. They took our money out for reasons of I got my notes here. Again, for wartime, didn't tell us they was taking it out of Social Security whatsoever. They was telling us getting loans. Those loans were coming from us. And you know what's so trip? Is that we pay into the tax, we pay into our Social Security via on our paychecks, right? Social Security. I think it's either SSI or something like that. We pay into our Social Security, whatever one it is. And that goes in. That's what that account is. It's supposed to be growing with interest, and we better pull it out when we get older, things of that nature. But when they took money out and paid for wars, and they took money out and gave you tax cuts, you know those $200 or $300 that you got back sometimes under President was it Trump, and before that Bush and others. Even I don't know for sure. I know under Clinton, Obama may have. I'm not 100% sure. But under almost every president, or even not almost, every president since 1968, if they gave us a tax break and said, here, take this $300 or $1,200 or $3,000, whatever, you thought that was free money coming back to you that was in a surplus. It was never a surplus. Because they took your Social Security and they added it on to the budget to make the budget look like we had a surplus, when in fact we still had a deficit. So then they say, let's give them the money back. And we got all excited, got our little $300, $1,200, and it turns out that money was from our Social Security. Now, how do you pay back the Social Security? Because they're only paying the interest. They ain't got nowhere near the principal paying our shit back. How do you pay it back? Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That would be you and me. We're paying our own money back that we gave them. I mean, this is a sham. I mean, they literally took our money and paid it for all kinds of things. When Trump and Elon are talking about, let's look for, fraud and all these, what's fraudulent is our government officials to allow this to happen without telling the American people this is what's happening. And then they covered themselves. They cloaked themselves with another rule that basically, in a normal situation, if you put money in something that's a trust fund, and when the time comes, the money's not there, you should be able to sue whomever has your money because they done did something funny with it. Well, here's the thing. You heard FDR say this was for the people, went straight to the people who have something when they retire. This was never billed, nor did they ever say it was a tax. But there was a person who tried to sue to get their money, right? There was another person who tried to sue because he thought he was a communist or something like that, and they got him out of the country, but he had paid into the system. They're like, we don't owe you nothing. His money that he paid in, they didn't give it back to him. The other person sued, same situation. That's what classifies the fact that this money is not guaranteed to come back to you. That's why Republicans feel so free to try and take it, because in the small print, it literally says this is a tax, and they don't have to pay taxes back. They lied and told us it was not a tax. It was us putting money into account to have our own backs when we get older. And these greedy fucks decided to take our money and give us a bunch of IOUs they never plan on paying back. They call it an entitlement program. In all honesty, it's a contract with the government, but not a legal contract. But our contract was, we'll give you this money so that it can grow, so that we can have security. That's why it's called Social Security when we retire, because we can't work anymore. So we need to have money set aside. That's how it was sold. And yes, everybody fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. But our government was lying to us. I don't know when they decided, but they never really planned to pay us back. They made it so that it wasn't a binding contract. That if we pay them back, we're doing good by them. But if we don't, we're not breaking any rules. Can you imagine you putting your money into a bank and they just telling you, we don't really have to give you your money back? But didn't tell you that. It was in the fine print. It is insane, y'all, how they've literally played these corrupt, like accounting tricks. This money was billed that it was going to be there for us, by us. And then they fraudulently spent it on things that they didn't tell us they were doing. Your tax breaks or tax cuts coming back to you has been your Social Security money that should be there when you're growing old. And they played fast and loose with our money, with IOUs to pay it back, but have no intention. They're trying their best, especially Republicans, trying their best to make it defunct so they don't have to pay us back ever. They're trying to we're trying to save money, even Trump. If there's fraud there, we're going to try and save that money. Well, what you going to do with it? Because to be all honest, if it was the contract in which Americans thought it was going to be, if you're going to defunct the entire Social Security, if it was the plan we thought it should be, where we were sold and lied to about, we would actually just receive our money back with interest. Everything we put in it, I'm 54. Everything I put in Social Security over my 54 years of work, well, I've been working since I was 15. So my 30 or 40 years, basically, a little bit less than 30 years of working, all that money I put in almost 30 years, every last dime of that plus interest should come back into my account, because we were sold that it was basically a savings fund for us. It was not meant for you to be spending willy-nilly whatever the fuck you wanted to spend it. But that's what they did. And then they owe us IOUs that they really don't intend on paying back. They're trying to get out of it. That's why they're trying to cut all this stuff. I'm like, if you got fraud within the Social Security, you need to get the people who took our money and put it back. You don't need to close it down and then say, oh, we're going to give you a tax break. No, I don't want no tax break. I want all my money. Fuck all that break shit. I put my money in there because I thought it was going to be growing with interest and it'd be there when I get old. I did not put it in there for you to gamble with and have fun with and leave me a bunch of paper that don't mean shit. That's fraud. That's the fraud part. Majority of Americans did not know. We did not see a fine print. We did not sign a contract. Our leaders did. And our leaders went out and led us to believe that this was basically a trust fund for the American people to be there just in case we go through another depression. We'd have this money there. When it no longer was that, you should have told us. But instead, you did not. Behind closed doors, you guys made decisions over these decades and didn't tell Americans that what they thought it was at the very beginning, that they still think is today, changed at some point in time, which you never told them. And now you're talking about we don't have enough money in it. We should have a plethora of money in it. It's just that greedy people said, let's get a tax break. For what? We don't have enough money. Oh, you put our money alongside it to make it look like we had money, so you took money back? In all honesty, ladies and gentlemen, these rich people who have started businesses, who've gotten funds to build whatever it is, spaceships to, medical, like miracles and all this shit like that this government has given them money to, we should own a piece of those companies because it's been our money, our Social Security money that has gone to these people to do what the hell they want to do with it. It should have never been that way. And they don't even have to pay it back. It should have never been our Social Security money was being lent out to people. Not even lent, given. Paid down stuff that we did not have that bill paid down for. There's nothing in that bill that says that's supposed to happen. But they created that 1965 unified, what was it called? Something to the fact that it was Unified Budget Act of 1968. LBJ signed. Just insane. Insane, ladies and gentlemen. We're out here busting our butts, and these individuals are taking our money and saying, oh, it's going defunct. I'm like, how's it going defunct? How is it how's it that it's not going to be enough there for people who are older? Why not? Oh, we owe y'all 2.8 trillion and we ain't paid that back. So it sounds like to me that's a you problem. You got to figure that shit out. How about you not build one of those damn planes for $2 trillion and give us our fucking money back? How about that? How about that? You want to tell everybody to pay tax? Boy, I'm telling you, this government, man, this government's a trip. This is a trip. They took our money, and now they're talking about it as if it's an entitlement program. First of all, Social Security is not an entitlement program. No, sir. No, ma'am. That's like a contract between us and the government. Because an entitlement program means you just took our tax dollars, if it was a tax thing, and actually made some. We actually put money in here for retirement. That's what that was for. And the contract was when we get older, we'd have it. That was me and us and the government's decision. Contract, come back. We did not say put this toward building bridges and shit. We did not say put this toward giving us tax cuts because it's not a part of the budget. But once they put it in the budget, which I don't understand why the hell he did that, LBJ, but they put it there. I understand they wanted to make the deficit look better. Instead of doing the work of cutting back on things and raising taxes so that we spend as much as we make, or we spend less than what we make, so therefore we no longer in a deficit. Instead of doing that, no, you went and grabbed this, what you thought was free money, threw it in the pot with the other shit, and then said, look, we got a surplus. No, dipshit, we still got a deficit. That money should never been touched. Ever. And nobody's given us any reason why it should have been. They may have told our leaders, but our leaders did a piss poor job in telling us what the hell they were doing behind closed doors. They didn't put this vote to the American people. They didn't tell them this was happening to them. So if anybody, like I said, I got no problem with you finding fraud in the government because I know it's there. But firing people, no. Getting rid of people for some reason, no. You need to stop doing stuff, that extraordinary stuff, buying desks for $15,000. Pete Hegseth doing shit like that, and other people doing shit like. I'm like, yo, you only here for 4 years. Bring your shit from your house. The hell you buying shit just for 4 years, and then what? Then what? The next person that comes in gonna want to buy furniture. That's some stupid shit. Buy a good desk, and all y'all share that shit. You don't have money like that. We shouldn't be paying for shit like that for you. If that desk ain't broke, sit your ass at it. It's crazy shit. I wanted to look great. No, it ain't gonna look like nothing. It looks presidential. It looks like your position. Sit your ass down and work. Who gives a shit about what it is, whether you like it or not? I don't care if it's the same curtain George Washington busted a nut on. I don't give a fuck. You still keep it there. Fucking buying new shit for no reason. $15,000 for a desk. Somebody got a $100,000 desk one year. I was like, what the fuck are they doing? And you start to realize you don't have it in the budget, bro. You tapping into shit that you shouldn't be tapping into, America. This government is tapping into shit they shouldn't tap into. Our money should not be tapped into for that. Thank you guys for being here. I get heated when people steal from me, man, and lie to me. I can't stand nobody to lie to me. I go off. That one case I was talking about, and it's called Fleming versus Nestor, 1960. This case was determined that Americans do not have a contractual right to Social Security. The hell? We don't have a contractual right to Social Security. Why'd you promise us that it was going to be there if there's no right for us to get it? It makes no sense to me. Why on earth did they come up with this bill for Social Security Act in 1938? 35, 38? Let me see. 1935, exactly, 35. And then to tell the American people in 1960, when Fleming versus Nestor, the court ruled that Congress can change, reduce, or even eliminate benefits, and citizens have no legal claim to demand them back. Nestor had paid into the system for years, but was denied benefits after being deported as a former communist, and the court said tough luck. In essence, the government said, yeah, we took your money. And no, you're not guaranteed anything back. See, these laws, these lawsuits, this is what determined that it was no longer a benefit, it was a tax. So they don't have to pay the taxes back. The benefit, they'd have to they have to pay it back. But it's a tax now. That's what the government decided under cloak, because nobody knew that. Nobody knows about this. Thank you very much, 5 Alarm Fire. So that to me is horrible. How you tell the American people in 1935 that they're going through the Great Depression, and so that, you know, we're getting over that. We created this Social Security Act in 1935 so that at that time, only white people, but eventually for everybody, that they had, you know, they could pay into this system so that when they retire, there'd be something there. They won't be going through what they went through in the Depression, just in case that happened again. They have money. That's the way they sold it. That's the way he said it to the public. We just watched it. And then somewhere along the line, it's 1968, they blended it in with the budget to make the deficit look like it wasn't as bad as it actually was. So it went from 1935 to 68. Guess what happened also in 1968? What do y'all think happened in 1968 at the exact same time, around the same time, that they basically took the Social Security and blended it in with the budget? Now, I'm not saying these two are correlated, but I want you to know what was happening in 1968 at the same time. Nobody knows. I'm pretty sure you don't. On 1968, that is when they allowed black people to be able to get into these programs that they called helping the people. and then became like Social Security and welfare and all stuff like that. Those programs in 1968, black people were finally allowed into it. And it's so strange that once black people were allowed to get this money that once before was guaranteed to them, all of a sudden it became something that wasn't guaranteed anymore, and that it was put into our budget to make it look like we had a lot of money that we didn't have. But prior to that, it wasn't meant for that. It may be an odd coincidence, but it's weird how once they put black people on it, it all of a sudden became something that was a part of our budget to make our budget look as though we didn't have that much of a deficit. And by doing that in 1968, ever since, you have to question, were your, like tax breaks or refunds from the government saying, oh, we got money to give you back. Oh, we got money to give you back. Or was the money also from COVID that we got, was that also a part of our Social Security given back to us? It's $2.8 trillion as of, I think, 2023, 24. I think it's 23. 2.8 trillion is how much they owe us back. So it turns out the money we pay into Social Security based off of this judge and what they made a decision isn't legally our money anymore. It says once deducted, it was treated as a tax, not as a savings account contribution. That's why it doesn't get refunded if you die early or if you don't qualify for the minimum benefit period. So it was a benefit at one point and then got turned into a tax. And when it got turned into a tax, they don't owe it back. When did all this stuff happen and why? That was 1960. But why did this all happen? And why doesn't the American public know this shit? Maybe some of you do, but I didn't. It's stated that they redefined our investment, because that's basically what we was doing, investing in ourselves so that we'd be taken care of just in case something happened. That's the way they got us to actually buy this, right? To buy into Social Security Act. They told us it was basically a guarantee that we would get it back. Let me pitch it to you like if they pitched it to you back then the way 1968 and then after that in the late 1960s, whatever, when they changed it. If you had pitched it to the American people saying, how about you put money into an account and that, that money is going to be there for you when you get older. Mm-hmm. And the interest is going to grow and you're going to be able to have that money for when you retire. Because, when you get like in older ages, 60, 70, whatever, you can't really work a 9 to 5 and you don't want to. As long as you got that money there, Social Security on top of whatever job you had came in, you'll be taken care of. You don't have to be treated like you were in the Depression, the Great Depression. But here's the thing. If something happened like as we have to spend it, we will. And then your money won't necessarily be guaranteed to you, but it could be. Now, would you want to pay into this? Most Americans be like, fuck no, I ain't putting nothing in there. I'd rather put it in a savings account. Why the hell am I going to give it to you and have a risk of never getting it back? What kind of shit that sound like? No, thank you. Do not vote for that senator and Congresswoman and man. And keep that shit to yourself. Who want that? I ain't putting something in that told me that it was going to be something legit, and then all of a sudden I turn around as BS? Nah, that's ridiculous. How you going to give people Social Security and tell them that they're going to be secure, and all the while you're spending their money and they're less secure than they thought they were? Yet at the same time, continue to ask people to put money into something that you keep on siphoning out and spending on shit you don't deserve. The hell is that? That's not conservative whatsoever. Not fiscally conservative whatsoever. And it's fraud to tell American people one thing, and then you Republicans, Democrats, Independents are voting behind our backs and stealing money from us, putting a bunch of IOUs in there, and then telling everybody, Americans, that it's our fault, that it's like gonna be like gone in a few years, whatever, how many ever years it is. It's not our fault. It's all your faults. And they frame it as though like we're just overspending. It's American citizens' fault. No, it is our leaders' fault. And they should be the ones telling us this. I shouldn't have to research and deep dive and find this shit out. Our Social Security should be there. And if we are down 2.8 trillion, I don't care whether you're Republican, Democrat, independent, I don't care what you are. Figure out a way to put our fucking money back. And then figure out a way to leave your grubby fucking hands up off our money so that our people can retire in grace. The way they put the money in, the way they were told to begin with, and the way you guys need to reverse these laws y'all created to be able to touch our money. You got to find another way. Because you know what's so messed up is to steal our money without us knowing it, and then take our tax money that we're paying into it on top of the Social Security that we're paying into. We got to pay our own money back from our own taxes. And at the same time, guess what? Billionaires aren't paying their fair share of taxes as it is. But when they get tax breaks and that money's coming from our Social Security, guess what? After $168,600, I'll get that 100% right here real quick. I don't want to mess it up. I want to be factual. Give me a hot second. Hot second. I believe, let's see, that ain't it. There you go. For people who are rich, I'm not gonna say rich, but let's just say anybody who's like middle class that's making, let's say, $200,000 a year, right? After $168,600, after you make that much in income, at least that was in 2024, you don't owe any more money on your Social Security. So for some of these rich people, these middle class people who have money, after you reach $168,600 you paid into your Social Security, not that amount of money that you paid in, that's how much you've made that year. So for rich people who get like $300,000 checks, their first check is the only time they pay money as far as into the Social Security, that first check. Then after that, they don't have to pay for the whole year. While me and you, who are making maybe less than $168,000, we're paying Social Security all year long. And then when they get tax breaks back, tax cuts back, they get the same, or more than us exactly, but they get as if they've been paying throughout this whole year. And then they want tax cuts. We're paying higher tax brackets than they are. And we're paying in Social Security all year while they pay for only one paycheck. And they're always wanting more. Hell, we want more too. How about putting our money back? How about we can say, can I opt out of Social Security and just take my money and put it in like a savings account or some kind of, I want to invest my money. Can I pull out my Social Security like right now and say the hell with that system? I'll put it somewhere else and invest it. Because I'd be damned if you're going to tell me you may have it, you may not. Based off what you feel or based off the fact that you don't ever want to pay us back. Because we can't do shit with these IOUs. These promissory notes. I tell you, I was pissed when I found out they had my money and they ain't gonna give it back. They don't have to give it back. The hell am I paying into the system for? I could have easily put that into some savings account or Roth IRA or something all these years. And you're gonna tell people, oh, well, I don't want to pay it back. What you mean you don't want to pay it back? You spent it. They've been siphoning our money, giving themselves tax cuts. That's what they're trying to do right now. Go in and every department, try to siphon money out of it, fire people, whatever, and then give themselves a tax cut. They're trying to find money to give themselves again. When they owe us, he's talking about they're trying to save, they're trying to get what, $2 trillion? Okay, save $2 trillion, but you still owe the American people $800 billion after that. That should go back into the coffers in which you Republicans and Democrats alike stole from the American people in Social Security. Social Security should be taken off the budget and put back as it was when we were told what it was supposed to be. They need to fix that in pronto. American people need to rise up and say, you know what? Nah, I'm cool with that Social Security being a part of the budget. Take that shit out because it was never meant to be that. Recant that shit. You guys playing fast and loose with people's money. If anything is fraud, that's fraud. Because the American people think It's supposed to be there for them, and that is a good contract between us and them, and that it's supposed to be there. It can't go defunct if we're paying into it and it's increasing with our economy. Then there should be a lot of money in that for us when we retire. Not saying, think about it. We're always putting money in it and nobody's spending anything out of it. Not supposed to be. Then we would have money. It wouldn't go defunct. It wouldn't have a problem if they kept their grubby hands up out of our money. Just giving the facts. I'm going to go back and answer some of these questions you guys got here in a second, but I'm going to go through what I got to go through because I'll lose my place in a heartbeat. We never gave these people permission to do this. Not in 1968 when they changed it so that it became a part of the budget. Not later on. In 1985, I want to believe that Reagan was president then. I'm not 100% sure. It might have been George Bush Jr. or Sr. And then also in 1990, I want to say that was Bush. And it might have been Clinton, to be honest. They decided at this point, so Congress acted under its own authority, cloaking the decisions in legislative jargon buried in bills few citizens had access to change all this, especially in the pre-internet era. The media did not blow the whistle. Politicians did not hold town halls saying, they did not say this. This is what they should have said. But this is not what they did. They didn't do this. They should have said, and this is what they didn't do. We're going to start using your retirement savings to hide the national debt and pay for things you didn't approve. That's what they should have said. But they didn't say that. But that's exactly what they did. They wanted to hide our national debt by making it seem as though we had more money than we actually had. And in so doing, made it look like we had a surplus and therefore gave us a bunch of tax cuts and gave billionaires a lot of money. You got about $1,200, $300, whatever it may have been. And they took that money, invested and made billions of dollars off of it while we sat there and paid for a pair of shoes or, rent for a month. And it was gone. And it was never their money to give away. They gave you money we didn't deserve to have because it wasn't a surplus. You don't take money out of the bank when you don't have it there. And they knew better, but they're greedy. And they decided to give our money away back to us in the form of a tax cut when it was really your Social Security money going out the window because they took it and made it look like we had a surplus, or they took it and made it look like, we were doing pretty good when we really weren't. Somebody blocking your comments? They damn sure blocking my comments. Who's that? With fun forever. I hear you, Earthkeeper. That's the thing. They definitely need to start, I say put our money back and just let it grow. We'd be fine. You guys need to figure out, again, have the rich pay their fair share instead of, they double tapping us. I mean, triple to be honest. I mean, you got like the everybody has to pay taxes, but we're paying them, all of us are paying them at a higher rate than the billionaires are paying them, right? At a higher rate than that. And then they're going through our programs like Social Security, which is not an entitlement program. They want to label it entitlement program, so therefore they can take from it because it's not a part of the budget. But they made it look as though it is in 1968. So, yeah, 100%. Let's go with the flow farm. What's up? I asked the questions. I called a few people, and they seem like they're learned about law because logically I had the question when I was doing my research. And I said to this person who's a lawyer, I said, At first, I thought this was a real contract, because it's American people. They said it to us. It doesn't have to be, written. It was written down on a document, right? So is it really like a social contract? I mean, can we actually sue the government to give us our money back? And that's when they pointed me to that case I just told you about, where that person tried to sue and lost for getting their money back, because they said that that's when they defined, at that point in time, that person thought just like me, that you could sue and get your money. But they said, no, we don't owe you anything. It's basically a tax, and that was defined then. I would love to have taken that to the Supreme Court. I don't know if that was the Supreme Court that did that or just regular courts, because they should have took it to the Supreme Court, because, I mean, it was really billed as a benefit and not a tax. They specifically left the word tax word out of it when doing it. But that law that the person sued is binding. But I don't know if it was a Supreme Court case. Maybe people should test that out. I'll ask the lawyer about that next time. Okay. But we can't sue, because that case determined it to be a tax and not a benefit, and that we're not guaranteed the money. I don't know where that came from. We should fight heavily for that. It's like it was not billed as a tax. So I don't know how this judge came up with it being a tax when it was billed as a benefit for the people. I look at it this way. If you sell a bill and don't put tax in the bill, then how can you justify it being a tax? Just so that you can get out of it? That should not be done. I like to swear more. They block you when you swear. You chop it up a bit. Okay, I see. I earned cap on essays is currently 176,000 earned keep per year. Okay. 2024 it was 168,600. So is that for 2025? Social Security, taxes. Let me know. When it comes down to it, we did not, as American citizens, vote on or even know that through town halls, whatever, our leaders at the time this stuff went down in 68, in 85, I think it was 84, 85, and 1990, we were not made aware, or even 68, we were not made aware of what they were doing. They didn't tell us this. And I think both parties need to clarify and justify the reasons behind that. Now, I know when these things were done, most of these people were not in office, but 1990, some of them were. I know that around that time, Bernie Sanders was there. I don't know if he was a Democrat at the time or he had switched to independent. I don't know when he did that. So people like him that were in office around that time as I think he was a representative at that time working in the House. But there are many people who are older who were there at that time. They need to understand, or at least justify, why they did something like that if they're still in office right now, and how they can fix it. Because Social Security should never be a conversation had anymore. Social Security should be solvent, and therefore we shouldn't even be talking about that. When it comes to the budget, it should only be about all the things that we spend and make money from. If how much money we come from taxes and things of that nature go into the pot, and if we don't have enough to go out, then we don't spend it. That's being fiscally conservative. But you got on both ends of the spectrum, especially for Republicans, though, they always want to put all this money in government spending. That's all their billionaire friends, so they can build toys that cost way too fucking much. And be able to, I would say, that's fraud. Because I don't believe half the shit they be giving people they actually need. Well, you need $400 million to build a Tesla or an EV car that has, that's armored. You already got the armored technology. Ain't like you got to rebuild armored technology. And you got the shitty car already. Why in the hell do you need $400 million to do that? The car's already made. You don't need to design a new one. That's like me saying, hey, you know what? I want my car to be tinted all over the place. And I want to wrap it. Okay. How much does that cost? Oh, it costs like, $200. Okay. I'm going to bill you $200,000 for my $200 worth of work. Man, fuck all that. Before you give them a lot of money, itemize that shit and let American people know what it's going for so that we can vote up or down. Nah, we don't need that. Not unless it's something like private, like, you're dealing with war. But you just, armored vehicle, I mean, we know what those are. Nothing special about it. American people should know how much money is going into that, why, and should be able to say no. Vote on it, up or down. No. House, you're the owner of the purse, the keeper of the purse. You should put more, your purse string should be tight as fuck. You shouldn't be like loosening them up for everything that everybody talking about they want. You should tell them no sometimes. Most times. Work with what you got. Work with what you got. And you don't deserve to go any further until you can make money off the shit you're making. That's the way I see it. That's me personally. But words hurt their fifis, right? I don't know if it hurts the channel or not either. I don't go through and try to tell people what they can and can't say. I don't know. It may hurt my channel. I don't know, but I have that kind of freedom. I didn't see Woke Mike. Take care. Take care, brother. I didn't see you leave. It's no longer entertainment. Cancel cable. Johnson had a balanced budget, and so did Clinton. Actual fiscal responsibility. Azure. Yeah, I know that Clinton did, but again, I didn't know that they took our Social Security and placed that up on the budget when it wasn't there before. 1968 is when they decided to do that. And in 1968, that was done for the sole purpose of making the deficit not look as bad as it was. It was really for a facetious reason, because again, the American people should have saw the budget for what it was always supposed to be. We should not have had this quote unquote fund that they turned into a freaking slush fund, and they can do whatever they want with it. Because by putting it on the budget, it made it look like they had money that they could spend that was not supposed to be touched from the very beginning. American citizens did not know our money was going to be touched for other than giving it to people who retired before us, right? And that's what we thought. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're paying into it. And most of us, I don't know everybody, but most of us thought that the people who came before us are paying into it, right? And therefore, as like 1935 and on, they're paying into it. And then when they retire, they get so much of that money back, right? And then when they pass away, it's gone. It wasn't a situation where the family got it, but you thought it, you could just get it. And that's what Americans thought. But somewhere along the way, they're like, once the person's dead, they can't get it. I'm like, well, then shit, that's a scam to begin with. Because it's their money. Their family should receive it. It makes no sense to me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, I'm gonna look deeper into it, but right now, from what it looks like, as far as what I've looked into, it looks like it was a scam to begin with. I mean, it had its great purpose from the outside looking in, but and that was from 1935. But by the time 1966 or 68 rolled around, or 65 rolled around, I think it's 68 rolled around, it became a part of the budget. Now, there was a reason why it was not a part of the budget from 1935 to 1968. With 33 years later, they decided to do it. So obviously, when it was 33 years beforehand, it was used as a separate, like a trust fund, so to speak, that was just there to collect interest, put money in it, and then when you retired, you would retire with dignity. That's the way it was sold. That's the way it went down until 1968. They started to put their grubby hands on it and put it up against the budget, so make it look like they had more money in the pot to spend than they actually did. And they started putting a bunch of IOUs saying, we'll pay you back. And they've been doing it ever since. Not good. And I don't think most Americans know that or would have agreed on that. And the leaders are the ones that we put into office. Those are the ones that agreed upon it without telling the American citizen through town halls and so forth that this was coming down the pike. This is what they were going to do. It took Democrats and Republicans to pass this, and independents. That's what I'm going to look up next. What percentage, I don't have it right now, but as I continue to research, what percentage of the parties voted for this in 1968? All right, I voted for this. In 1968, and the other times they did it, 1984, 85, and 1990. 1985 and 1990. And that we will get to on the next slide. But I just really wanted to talk to you guys about the true history of what this was for and what it's turned into be. Republicans were talking, have been talking, since Trump and before Trump, even Republicans way back, even when Reagan was president, about Social Security, that it was going to go bad and, going to be broke and all this other stuff. And they made it seem like it was the American people's fault, that we just weren't paying into it. That's what they made it seem like. We weren't paying into it enough. We weren't getting enough funds from the people. So it's going to fall apart. And most Americans, I'm not going to say all, thought this was the case. But it's far from the truth. We've been paying into it. It should have been growing astronomically. We should have more than enough in it. If you count the $2.8 trillion that they need to pay back, I'm sure we would get back to where we need to be. And it would never be talking about it going defunct, like it's going to go broke. And then you continue to pay into it. But no, they're treating it like it's their personal bank account. And in so doing, we're sitting here, thank you, Five Alarm Fire, and we're sitting here worried about something we shouldn't be worried about, talking about something that we shouldn't be talking about. The conversation should be reshaped. The conversation now should be, pay us our money, and stop talking about it's going to go broke. Put the money in which you took, in which you owe, back into the account. And let's move on and talk about another topic on how you need to get money from something else. And more than likely, tax the rich at the percentage in which is comparable to how much you tax us. They should not get such a tax break. What have they done to deserve that? They're always robbing us. When they feel like they're not making enough profit, they price gouge us. They're always winning and winning against us, and we're always struggling. And it gets worse and worse. Their lives get better and better while they pretend that their lives are getting worse just like ours. Like they understand what we're going through. They do not. And them wanting to get a tax cut again is just pathetic. We haven't paid our bills yet. These subsidies going to the rich need to stop. Give them to the people who are poor or middle class who are looking to start businesses. Ride or die with the American people, not just the American rich people. Give people who have an idea and need funding, give them subsidies to pull this off. Since they're going to be the ones creating the jobs, and they're the ones, once they get the opportunity, they're going to be the ones busting their ass to create more work because they want to be successful. Therefore, they're going to go and hire as many people they can to be able to turn their lives around and lift up a lot of people. They're the only ones who give a damn about people. Most rich people do not. They get this money and they make more money. And they rarely go back and help anybody else out. The American people need to stop putting their faith in the rich unless the rich are showing them they actually give a damn. But if they don't give a damn, stop giving them our money. American people should say, stop giving the rich our money. Give it to the people to start businesses so that we can create a strong economy, not just a greedy one. I'd rather my money go, if I'm a taxpaying person, to someone who needs $500,000 to start a business that's going to grow and create, 30,000 jobs or whatever it may be. Not to give $200 million to somebody who already has enough money to buy the freaking country, to go play around with some shit and hopefully come up with something. If they don't, they don't owe it back. I'm done with that. American people need to fight back and say no more money of our tax dollars given to the rich. Only given to the people, middle class and poor. Those with ideas. Not free money, but money given to them. Again, it's free as subsidized money, but money given to them when they're ready. They gotta do just like the rich people. Come up with a plan, an idea, write up how they want it to go. And then once they do all that and design it the way it's supposed to be done, they come to the government and say, look, I got this business idea. We're going to need this amount of money, blah, blah, blah. Got it right. Bid for it. Yeah, okay. We need robots, everything like that. You got a robotic company that you want to build. You got this. Okay, cool. You'll get it in phases. We'll give you $200,000 at the very beginning. If you can pull it off, we'll give you another $300,000 on the back end. Create it. Create the jobs. These people are going to want to build and build and build and build. But once you're already up here, it ain't nothing but greed. You already got the money. Why are you working so hard? You're not. You got all these people working. You're taking the money and you're getting yachts with that shit. You know you don't have to pay it back. American people need to be tired of that shit and decide, you know what? If you're going to give my tax money to anybody, give it to the middle class and to the poor. That way we have an opportunity. We can be like, give it to the middle class and the poor. And then you go out there and put a bid in for a business that you want to start to help the government. Shouldn't have these billionaires getting our tax dollars and never having to pay it back and then calling you lazy, calling you on welfare, pulling your bootstraps up. And here it is. Why don't you pull yourself up? You're already worth so many billions of dollars, but you're still taking hundreds of millions of dollars of our money to go out and play with. And if it succeeds, great. If it doesn't, we don't owe it back. You make all the profits from it, but you never trickle it down. No, the American people should be tired of that. And we should be saying no more. No mas. Give it to the people to create jobs, seeing as how middle class people or small businesses and mid-sized businesses are the foundation of the economy in America, not the big corporations. And that's what they should be doing. That's my 2 cents on it. And if I was empowered, that's what I would do. No more money for the rich, only for the middle class and poor. Because they pay a higher percentage. And on top of that, they have a cause, a reason, a purpose to create jobs. And that's because they've been there when they didn't have them. And they know what it's like not to have it. And they're more than likely willing to create more jobs for good people than a rich person is. You got these rich people always looking overseas. Let me go overseas and find somebody. We got enough people in this country. The middle class and the poor know that. Because they are them. The rich people want to enrich people from other countries to come here. It's time we tell the government what we want and not what them telling us what we deserve. It's what we want. It's our money. They don't get to determine everything about our country. You either do for the people or get your ass out and do something else in the private sector. Because being a servant means that. You serve the people. And that's what I think they've forgotten. All right. What's up, Save Wit? I'm gonna go through this and answer some questions. Thanks again, Five Alarm Fire, for the donation. I appreciate it. I try to do my best, and it always feels good when people show the love. Um, Thanks for all my subscribers and my members. I appreciate y'all. Trying to get to 20,000, so let people know what we're doing up in here. If you enjoy it, I'm enjoying you guys' conversation. I've been watching it as I continue talking about it. Go with the flow farm. I don't know what this is about pertaining to. Who's going to be able to afford their stuff anyway? I'm guessing you're talking about the billionaires. I want to put these chats up here, man. I just don't know what the heck they're actually. Where's it supposed to go? This app I just got, so I'll learn it over the throughout the week, and hopefully I'll have them up. I end up putting your comments up on my screen. Give you guys some love. I think earlier somebody asked me something. I just saw an article about the space debris from all Elon's failed satellites. I got to check that out, Jess, if you're still here. I haven't seen that. What's up, Five Alarm Fire? Been watching you for a long time and completely agree with you. Do you have a Discord? I do not have a personal Discord. I do have one for one of my businesses, but I should get one, huh? But yeah, you can, if you follow me here on TikTok, you can always get in touch with me. I got my emails and all information there, so you can always contact me if you have a question or advice, knowledge that I may not have that you think I deserve to have. That's what I do to other people. I'll hit them up with some knowledge that I may not record. Whatever, reach out. Let's see if I got it. Benny Loco said, solution? Make billionaires illegal. Make millionaires pay their fair share. I agree with that. That sounds great. You'll get people telling you you're a socialist and all this other stuff like that. It's like, if you're not going to do right by the people, that's who makes the billions for you. Then why be one? And the thing that gets me about these people, to be honest, is that you got more than enough money. I mean, good night. To be like the richest person in the world, and by far at one point, I don't know how much he is now since he lost some money, but excuse me, to be the richest person in the world and to still want more is just insane. It's just insane. I'm like, dude, all right, you want? What are you doing? Why are you trying to be like, what is this money gonna ever do for you? I'm saying at a certain point, you got more money than you deserve. What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Just keep collecting your money, but it's power tripping in our government without any clearances. It's sickening. We don't know if this guy is giving information to Russia or what other countries he's got deals with. Yes, yeah. Time to raise taxes on the rich. Let's give it up to 51% for millionaires and billionaires. Yeah, in certain years, I think it was capital gains tax. It was really high. I think it was like 70 or 80% or something like that. It might have been higher, but I don't want to say it out of turn. I thought it was higher than that at one point. I'm like, wow, that was a lot. But it was capital gains. Who was that, Vera? These rich MFers living their best lives. They really are, Vera. They really are. And we got to pay for it. We got to pay for it. The thing that gets me is that, when you learn about our like in this situation, I dive into our insurance. When you learn about our insurance, man, it's like, come on. How can you? I mean, the gaslighting is strong with these people. To sit here and tell us that, it's going to go broke because we're not paying enough into it, when this reality is you've been stealing it and you not paying it back. So you want us to pay you more in taxes so you can pay down our debt, your debt rather, you made to the American people, while never raising the taxes on the rich people. It's just sickening. Say, when I got a story about throwing out $30,000 worth of furniture out the squadron, I was literally told if they didn't need the money, they would get less for the next fiscal year. That's what I saw earlier. What's up, Say Wit? That is crazy. That's what I'm saying. It's like, why on earth, that they get a budget for repositioning or decorating stuff. I mean, and then what was it? They get budgets for decorating the White House a certain way, or changing the outsides, and putting up trees or redecorate. I'm like, what? Why do y'all have these budgets? I'm like, leave that shit alone. You don't own this shit. You here as a visitor. This is the American. This is the people's house. Leave the people's house the fuck alone. You don't own shit for 4 years. You are literally visiting. You're basically in the guest house, and you gonna come in and try and change shit. That shit always tripped me out with any president. I'm like, yo, quit messing with. That's how you can stop some of this shit. All this spending on silly stuff. You don't deserve to have a new desk. It is a temporary job, bro. You working there for 4 years. How many of us on worked at our job for 30 years, 15 years? We ain't never been able to buy furniture up in that trick. This is a job, yo. This is not your crib. We need to get rid of all these budgets. The only budget they should have is necessary budgets. Not this extraordinary, I want to make this and I want to go that. No, hell no. Sit your ass down at that wooden table. The hell you talking about getting gold and spending all this money? It's crazy. They're going to yell and tell you, the American people, you got to be more responsible. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. How about you get your grubby hands up off our money and sit your ass at a desk that should be 250 years old? Buying new shit. Despicable, shameful, cruel. Huh? Yeah, most definitely. It did become a slush fund, grow with the Flow Farm. That's what it became, a slush fund. A slush fund. They took the money. Thanks for becoming a member also, us, Five Alarm Fire. Yeah, a slush fund is what it became. It's sickening. They took our money and then act like every year like we did something. I'm like, we didn't do shit. We've been putting in that money faithfully, trusting you guys. We shouldn't. And I don't understand. It's backed by U.S. bonds. So when funds are needed, they cash the bonds and the Treasury has to come up with the funds. So if there's a surplus and they cash them, it would add to the national debt. Exactly. Again, it was never supposed to be that. It was supposed to be its separate thing, never added onto the budget so that it would become a part of the deficit or national debt or nothing. It was supposed to be on its own. And it was just like that from 1935 up to 1968. So there's a reason why, because the original promise was that it was a benefit for us to put money into. It was an actual fund for the people. And like I said, in 1968, many different things happened. But in 1968, that was the year in which black people were allowed to get into these funds. I don't know the purpose, if those two coordinate at all, but it was just a historic moment. But I don't know how that attaches to anything. I haven't done any research on it. It was just odd to me that that year was the year that it happened. It was also the same year that Martin Luther King died too. Just historic. I don't know if it has anything to have nothing to do with this. Jazzy Jim, we should have. I think I know what you're talking about. We should have the option to be able to take our money out. I'm guessing as you were talking about Jazzy Jim. That's what I want. It's like, take my money out and I'll put it into a Roth IRA or something. I'll put it into something else. I don't need you taking care of my money, government. Give me my Social Security money back. But at one point in time, but then that lawsuit I think happened in 60 something. That lawsuit, I go back and look at it, but I think it might have been 1960. Let me look at it. I don't want to be lying about it. You know how I am with lies. I piss myself off. At myself. Like, boy, where's it at? Yeah, that Fleming case, 1960 actually. And that was a case of, they called Nestor a communist, and they wouldn't allow him to have his money back because of that. And they deported him. They said for a while. I don't know if he was deported for a few years. I don't know if he was allowed to come back. I don't know what year it was, but it was one year. I think it was like in the 60s, but they were calling everybody communists who wanted good things for other people. That's why you trip and you hear people talk about today, it's the communist idea, Marxist, and all this other stuff like that. It's always shocking how, when you look at the extremes of I was doing this, I didn't go, I'm still doing a study on it, so I can't get deep in it right now, but I can't get like on the surface about, conservative leaning, when you get the far right and then you get the far left. And I studied it, recently. I'm like, okay, so what is considered the far right? What's considered the far left? Well, you can look at Donald Trump and MAGAs. They're the farthest right you're going to get. Just batshit crazy, right? Then you get to the far left, and the examples of the far left is Bernie Sanders. And I'm like, that's the far left? I'm like, really? So I'm like, how are these equatable? Batshit crazy, don't care about nobody but themselves, richness and power over humankind, don't give nothing, take your money, steal it, whatever, don't matter, get away with it. And then a guy who wants everything to be good for everybody, wants health care for everybody. Well, that's an extreme? I'm like, wow. They have sold these terms completely, because I don't know any human being personally that wouldn't want to have health care if it were. And the thing is that, here's another thing what they do here, because I had to go look at the health care, like what did the far right really want? And not far right, the far left really want, that they call the far left, which I think is not the far left, it's just left. There is no equivalent on the left side to the far right. There's no far right on the far left, right? It's really centrist, well, not even centrist, moderates, whatever. And then you got people who are just Democrats. It's just, we care about people. We want to create bills that we can pay for, that can help the people, and we believe in helping the people helps the country grow faster and better, right? So they would think I'm a far leftist for coming up with the idea of being able to take my money, invest it, so that I don't have to pay into the system anymore. They would think that's far leftist. And I'm like, how is that far left? They literally think people who are fiscally conservative, like the real fiscally conservative, like, I want to create a plan, but I want it to pay for itself. They will still think that is extreme. It's like, you just don't need the plan. I'm like, well, what do you want? Oh, I want to privatize it. I want to make it so that it runs with I can make money off of it. So you want to create a plan in which you make money off of it, and you can sell it and price gouge people when you want to, give them a deal when you want to. So you can just play around with it, make as much money as possible. But over here, they're like, no, we just want to pay for it and figure out how we can do it. And say, okay. So when I did the research, and this is preliminary, I found out, and I probably told some of you guys the last time on Friday, I found out that our insurance that we pay into, that we pay for the insurance companies and so forth and so on, right? American people pay about $4 trillion for your insurance plans total. This was last year, I think it was. $4 trillion. If you were to have a healthcare plan that was basically it focused on preventative and having insurance like full on, where you just go there and they take care of you and you treat stuff before it becomes anything, and then if it's treated after that, you have a different plan or whatever. But just basic health care, which most of Americans just go and do, right? That alone would only cost for all Americans to be able to do that in America and still have great health care. The study says that that would cost $2 trillion. Say, wait a minute. So you're trying to tell me that if I'm paying into the insurance plans right now, let's say my insurance plan for a single person, maybe I say, I don't know what it is for most people. I just say, just average it out and say like maybe $400 a month. If you're just one person, not a family. Let's just go to 500. Just say 500. So $500 a month, right? For one person, good health care. And I'm only going to use it most of the time for just, preventative maintenance stuff. And then when it gets to a point of having to go to surgery, you already have a different price with that with the insurance as well. So, but if I wanted to be part of the government to do it, it would cost me $250. So the problem that we have is the wording of the healthcare insurance. It's not free. That's what they get you with this socialist shit. Even the plan as they talk about it now, it's not free insurance. It's literally saying you'll be paying a tax for your insurance like you're paying for anything else. And your insurance may cost you as an American citizen, instead of it being $500, you may pay $150 a month into this plan. And this plan will be a situation in which, you still got good doctors out there doing the same thing, but it's your basic health care, $150, what you would use. And you just walk in and you never have to pay a dime. Being free meaning you pay into it and you walk in and you walk out without having to pay any extra fees. But you've paid for the insurance. See, Democrats, you guys suck at explaining shit. I mean, all they talk about is free healthcare. It's like, it's not free. You pay for it. It's not free healthcare. It's free after you've paid for it, meaning like you don't have extra costs. Like going in and having a copay. Why have a copay if I can just pay $150 and I can just walk to any hospital and, cut myself. Oh, stitches. Go ahead. Yep. All right, cool. All right, thank you. And then bounce. It's already paid for with the $150. Don't make me pay, $500 a month for insurance. I don't need insurance anymore. I pay $150 to the government. I have insurance. I walk in, I walk out. It's not free. It's just cheaper. More effective. Cuts back on time. As soon as I walk in, I ain't got to go through all this paperwork, crappity crap. I walk in, here's my card, bloop, walk on in. What's wrong? This one, I'll take care of it. Bap, get finished with it, boom, leave. Don't have to pay nobody. Ain't got to visit nobody as I walk out and say, hey, I want to pay you my credit card. But none of that shit. I've already got it. It's not free. It's just paid for in your taxes, which is cheaper than paying for insurance companies that say no to you. Hello. They deny you for simple shit. You can literally pay the government this amount of money. The only problem I have with that is that I don't trust the government. You'll pay into it and they'll fucking take borrowed money off of it. Will it be there? They have to create a law that says they can never touch this money for no reason whatsoever. I don't care, wartime, no time can they touch it. Illegal. Touch it, go to jail. That is what they got to put around this. They've got to have something to insulate it from the greedy ass politicians, presidents, and all that shit. Keep it away from them. It is for the people, by the people. Don't touch it. It's just for insurance. And then we can have insurance and walk into a hospital and get taken care of, or doctor's office get taken care of, and walk right out. See you next time, doc. That's what it really is. But they talk about it. The Republicans demonize it. Oh, it's socialism. It really isn't. I'm paying for it. It's not free. Oh, my bad. And the Democrats, well, we want free. No, you don't want free health care, you dipshit. You want health care that is paid for through taxes, but cheaper. It's just that you don't have to pay again. You walk in with no copay. Remodel it, Democrats. Remodel this thing, and it can work. But the other way around is just stupid. Yeah. So if you like everybody who's got insurance, and it should be a situation that is not mandatory either. I mean, if you go in and you don't have the card, then you got to pay full price or whatever. That's just is what it is. But again, being able to have, you know, if you're gonna have to pay insurance anyway, and you know they don't like force you to do it anymore, but they did at one point when it first came out, like the Obamacare and stuff like that. But if you want to have insurance, you pay that money into the account, and then the insurance is taken care of. You walk in, handle your business, you walk out. I think everybody would want something like that as opposed to having to pay insurance that is way over that amount. Way over it. People who have families know you're in the thousands for the most part per month. You got 2 kids, a wife, husband, a dog. Even that depends on the type of person you are. If you're really a dog lover, that dog's got insurance somewhere. You spend a lot of money. And if you had a situation of being able to go see a doctor and, you know, do the basic things and it not cost you anything more, I think most people want that. You don't know how socialism got a bad rap. It's literally taking care of everyone fairly. Come on now, Rude. You talking too much sense there. It's true. It's true. Both parties participate in benign neglect to freedmen descendants issues in real life. I hear you, Mark Addison. I agree. I should change my name to Mad Mimi over 50. Yeah, I mean, you know, I think for me, it may seem like sometimes that I'm mad. I'm not mad. I'm passionate. I'm passionate about like trying to fix it. And sometimes you just gotta, you know, belt it and tell them what you really feel as opposed to just one thing I realized early on, because if you know me personally, I'm like the most calmest dude that you probably ever meet. I'm sitting there chilling all the time. But when you piss me off, I go from 0 to 100 because I first of all, you piss me off on, and it's not easy to piss me off. There's only a few things. Lie to me, you piss me off, I'll go off, right? The same thing as a deception or anything of that nature, or just disrespect me about something. But for the most part, I'm relaxed and chill. But it takes something to actually, you know, piss me off. And when it comes to finding out my government or the people that I know or somebody that I may have trusted or a leader that I may have trusted had just blatantly lied to me, oh, I'm on that ass. I'm pissed. I'm like, yo, there was no reason to lie to me. I'm a grown man. I can handle it. Don't lie to me. That's what I can't handle because now I got to go do all this homework and find out your ass is a big time liar. You know, and those type of people, I believe, especially if you're a politician, you shouldn't be in office. There's a reason why people don't like y'all. Y'all lie too much. Right, Iona? I agree with you. Quit sending them to the Congress. But I mean, the thing is that, you know, and this is what I said. I was a friend of mine. I even put it on TikTok that we need an app that focuses on allowing us to know who our representatives really are, you know, and what they really vote for, and then how we benefit or didn't benefit from their vote. Then we can hold our leaders accountable. And then someone told me about another app that's already out. Five something. What is it called? Five calls, I think it was called. That's an app that has, I guess I haven't used it yet. They just told me about it on Saturday. You download 5 calls as an app, App Store or Google, I guess. And once you log in, it knows your GPA or whatever, you know, not GPA. It knows your GPS, and it lets you know like who your representatives are, and I don't know if it calls them for you or texts them for you to make decisions and tell them what you feel. And I guess it has the phone numbers there and everything. I was like, wow, that's great. But it's called 5 calls. Can citizens united and reinstate the fairness doctrine? I hear you, being loco. Luigi, we need to get big money out of the government. Yeah, big money needs to come out of government. But in the same time, I agree with that 100%. I also believe that we need that the government needs to stop giving rich people, all this money. We should not be giving them subsidies. It's just insane. We should demand they stop doing that. Was it Elon Musk? His kid has human. I use him as a human shield all the time. All the time. It says control click to add to the queue. I'll click the pen. Control click. Let me see if I can do this. I'm gonna try and do this real quick. What we got up here? It's a great app. So is Goods United. Goods United. Let me see if I can see that. It's a good app. No more tax cut and subsidies. Exactly. Let's see if I can do this. It says, I've never done this before. Control click. Control. See if your name comes up there, Rude. Does it come up? Nah. I don't see anything. This app isn't fully connected to my computer right now. Let me see if I don't have it. I use 5 calls and it works great. Yeah, I gotta check it out. Hmm. Yeah, it's not letting me do it. I'll figure out how to work it, but I'm getting there. Little by little. I'm gonna start putting your names up and your questions up on the screen. I got the app, but it's not working, so this is the first time I'm using it. So I will do it eventually. Maybe it goes to the top of control. I think it may go to the top of the control here. It's all right. I got Moonbat Ron Johnson as a senator. Oh, Ron Johnson. And he loved Last so much. System needs to stand up to Trump. They do. They really do. But they don't, though. That's so sad. They don't stand up for nothing. Now, what happened today? It happened I heard a little bit from the judge. I didn't cover that topic, but the quote from one of the judges today in the case for the Venezuelan people, she said that, and it's crazy how she said this, and I was telling you guys that Donald Trump and his people act like Hitler. And she said, with the due process aspect of that foreign act that they got them out of here, she said the Nazis got treated better than the Venezuelans when it came to that particular act, that Enemies Act, Alien Enemies Act. She said the Nazis got treated better. She didn't have to say that, but she said it. And she made a huge point. If you were paying attention to it, she made a huge point. It's like, it's true. They got treated way better than the way these people got treated. Because there was no due process. They put no due process. And they tried to say that they didn't have to because the president is all-knowing type of thing. You can do what he wants. I'm like, no, that ain't how it go, bro. That is not how it goes. You don't get to do what you want to do. Democracy for me is checks and balances, fairness, and justice in real time. Mark Addison, 100%. 100%. But see, that's the thing. It's not democracy. And the thing, here's one of the things, and I've been trying to find somebody to ask this question to, is these judges are debating the Aliens, that Aliens Act, Aliens Enemy Act, or something like that. They're debating that in court. And I'm saying, and these guys are trying to say that, the president can do this and can't do that. But I don't understand, ladies and gentlemen. The act itself, to be enacted, is not just the president's choice. There are parameters that must be set in order for these things to be enacted. This law of the Aliens Act, that aliens, whatever, I forgot that full thing, but that act, Aliens Enemies Act, that act is all about being in war. There is a prerequisite to being able to call upon that to actually implement it. We must be at war with the country in which these people are from. They implemented it when we were afraid at one point that we were going to have a war with France. That's when it was actually created. But then it's been used 2 other times in the country, partially used a 3rd time. So they don't really count that because 9/11 we used it partially. But the Japanese internment camp type of things, that's when they were used because they were worried about when we was in war with Japan that people here who were Japanese were part of the enemies. So we're not at war, not at all with Venezuela. So you can't even put this into action. So why are we even discussing this in courts? The court should be like, I don't care what you're saying your reason is. You have to determine to me, in order to put this into act at all, to be able to use it at all, you have to determine to me, when did Donald Trump declare war with Venezuela? That has to be the prerequisite before you even decide that this could be applied. Because that's what the law says. The act literally says for people that we are at war with. You can't say you're at war with a gang. A gang is not a country. And if you consider them to be a country unto themselves, then what about Latin gangs in America? What about Asian gangs in America? What about black gangs in America? You can attach them to anything too and just say, I want to get rid of gangs, and say, oh, well, you're naturally from Italy, so we're going to send you to Tokyo. Like, those don't match. Neither does sending them where the fuck you sent them as to where the fuck they're actually from. You didn't send them back to their own country. You send them wherever, another country, one of the worst prisons in the world, and you don't even have a crime they committed. No due process. The judges, and I don't understand it. Somebody's got to tell me, like, where's the judges at to be able to talk to them about this? I'm like, why are they debating this in court? The first thing, if I was a judge, I'd be like, let me talk to the lawyer that's for the president of the United States. Tell me when we decided to go to war with Venezuela. And if you do not have a declaration of a war, in which I know in order to have a war, we have to have the purse of the House to agree to go to war with Venezuela. And when you can determine or bring that into court, then we can have a further conversation about this bullshit that you're talking about. Habeas corpus and all this. None of it applies. So bring them back. Yeah, bring them back, or I'll jail the fuck out of all of you. Because there's no way that they should be there, coming from here, not living there, if they are not a part of a war. We're not at war with Venezuela. End of case. Bring them back. You got 36 hours. If I don't see them back, I will jail all of y'all. Every last one of you. Can't get to the president yet, but everybody below him shall go to jail until those people come back. Why are we doing something like that? Why are we debating shit that don't even apply? It doesn't make sense to me. I got to look it up. But I would love for a lawyer to tell me why we having a conversation about something that was implemented that doesn't have the parameters in which to implement. It should be illegal because there is no one that has agreed upon this quote unquote war. If it doesn't apply, it must go. They're having these fucking legitimate conversations. Why did you do this? And habeas corpus? And what the fuck? Why are you talking about that? It does not apply, Judge. And if they can't prove to you it applies, then you have to reverse it. Why are we having a conversation, ma'am? Sir. That's weird, America. I mean, just basic law stuff. And it just seems like every time we talk about America and its laws, it always seems as though there's always some kind of trick in it that can get you out of it. It doesn't seem like the law is solid. It literally seems like, oh, the law is one way for you and another way me. And yeah, we giving that person leeway. I'm like, for what? They broke the law. Hence, you should reverse it and fix the law. It shouldn't be shady. It should be clear. And that's my problem with it. And I would love to hear somebody talk about it. Impeach and remove. What's up, 1BC? Fragility is real. Yeah. Well, who will the judge get to arrest these people? Isn't that under the executive branch to make the arrest? I don't know. The arrest the people who broke the laws of sending them overseas, or are you talking about these people who were Venezuelans who got arrested? Because if the ones who are overseas, I would think, obviously, the ones that are here that are breaking the laws, I think that our government would be able to put them in jail. U.S. Marshals, and again, they're under like the DOJ and all shit like that. They're not going to arrest them. But the federal laws would actually take them. And then also on top of that, it's kidnapping. And you kidnap somebody when under a bogus law. The law doesn't apply. It's got to be something. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't say, but it is. It should be something. What's up, Rock Chick? You say U.S. Marshals? Yeah. So U.S. Marshals supposedly would make the arrest. Yeah, U.S. Marshals. So seems like two people. I don't know 100% myself. I just know, you're breaking the law. Literally, you enacted something that needs to have a war to actually be a real thing. If it doesn't fit, you must have quit, right? That's the wrong thing to say, but still, if it doesn't fit, you got to quit. And if it doesn't fit, these things do not fit. We got to be at war. Are we at war? No. Then the law must be dropped, right? Of course, but we're talking about something that doesn't matter. Why are we having this conversation? It doesn't fit. Find another law maybe, but that ain't it. I don't know. If are the U.S. Marshals under the DOJ? Because if they are, Trump put these minions in front of them. So I don't know. But I'm just saying the way the law is supposed to work, they should be arrested if they do not bring these people back. If the judge, to me, again, I'm not a judge, I'm not a lawyer. I just go with logical sense. If the act says you must be at war to enact it, and we're not at war with the country in which you took them, what country in which you say they're from, then you got to attach it somehow to a war. And what I heard one reporter say today, because she was asking somewhat similar question, and she was asking if it was a war. So are we saying that that in Venezuela, their government is connected to this gang, and therefore this gang is over here is basically like spies from the other country, and they're enemies to us because they're in this country, and that country is not at war with us, but they could have them here guessing like spies doing stuff in our country that we don't like, destroy our country. Again, it doesn't fit because we don't have any war with them, nor do we have any issue with them that has been known to our public or to our House or to our Senate. Nobody knows of this. It's made out of whole cloth. It's nowhere. They're fishing. It's on a fishing expedition, and it should not be allowed until they can clarify what issues we actually are having with Venezuela, if at all any issues. We can't be going to war, so to speak, with people just because we don't like them in our country. Who's next? Oh, we don't like Japanese people because in Japan. Oh, we don't like Chinese people because we got issues with them so they're, you know what I'm saying? We don't like Mexican people because we have an issue with the Mexican president. And, they're messing with our tariffs, so we got to send the Mexican people back because, it feels like a war. Are we at war, or you feel like there's a war? Feeling is not at war. Find another act. But instead of actually matching it, they're pushing this like vibrato. Well, the president can do what he wants. His executive. Like, no, the president, it's co-equal branches of law, which literally mean legislative, right? Judicial and executive are all equal. One person makes a decision, the other person makes a decision, then the last person decides if they want a decision or not. But the one person at the very top cannot make law without or even make war. Because you got to ask yourself, honestly, where did the money come from to send these people overseas? Because they didn't go to the house to get money from the purse. That's corrupt within itself. How did you get the money to send these people? How did you get the money to make this full-on production? They got cameras out there. They got they had drones filming them as they were driving the trucks and shit like that with music and shit. I'm like, this is like an ominous movie. Who produced this shit? Who paid for it? It's all illegal because there's no war, but it's coming out of some budget. I thought we were trying to be fiscally conservative. I thought we didn't have any money. And here it is. You just put off a whole big ass bus and plane and all this shit. There's no budget for that. So where do we get the money from? You didn't ask the House to fund it. Where do we get the money from? They should be looking, the House and the Senate should be looking at fraud and how this is done. Because if this was paid by Elon Musk or something of that nature, again, it's got to be highly illegal to do government stuff with private people's money. They had to go through the House to be able to fund stuff. You can't just go to rich people and tell them to fund for the American people. What is he getting out of it? If you're messing with the business, he's going to make some profit out of it. Because that's what he is, a businessman. And if he spent the money on it, then he's got to pay taxes on that too. Right? There's too much going on without us knowing about it. And something has to be done. They pulled a Brett Favre. It's for thee, not for me. That's right, Nina. We're talking about putting two government departments against each other, ICE and DOJ. Yeah. But they did that. We ain't doing that. We're talking about making it right. One department did something illegal. The other department is supposed to say, yo, that ain't right. Does whatever he wants, right, Benny Loco? So yeah, I don't know. It's called American exceptionalism, right? Jess, we need to flip the House and Senate and then impeach. I can wait. That's what I'm talking about, Jess. Jess Rush. We do need to flip the House and Senate and get them out of here. And we need to do the 25th Amendment on President Trump. 25th Amendment is as soon as we turn this House over. 2 years, he's out of here. Vice President's out of here. Impeach these judges that are going with him. Impeach the Supreme Court justices. All three of them, at least three of them. They can keep the other conservative one, but at least three of them I know for sure that are close to retirement. They need to go. For offering immunity, anybody that says a president can be immune, all those people need to bounce. They're not dealing with laws. They're dealing with their personal allegiance to the Orange Cretin. All that. That's what we need to do. I don't know if it's going to be done, but that's what we need to do. Who sent the immigrant report over, and will the U.S. Marshals arrest him? I don't know, Rube. I would hope. What's up, Paula? What she say? They're scared and don't give a damn. Knock it down to the studs. I see that. In order to impeach, we need the senators and reps willing to impeach him, and they are all Republicans and going along with him. And it's crazy too because they aren't doing anything. I mean, here's the thing. I've been trying to find stuff on different social media accounts and clips of news and all stuff like that. I have yet to see any like real work being done in the House or Senate since he's been president. I mean, the things that he's doing behind the scenes through these executive orders, that the House and Senate are not speaking up and saying yay or nay. They're just moving with it. I haven't seen any arguments from the Democrat Party saying that we need to have these bills and talk about these things. We need to work on the government. We work on this, work on this, work on that. I haven't seen it. I just don't know what they're doing. I know the Democrats are in court a lot, but the individual Democrat is not. Their lawyers are. So what are the Democrats doing? I know Bernie Sanders, AOC, having their, liberal tour, stop oligarchy. I get it. But what's our plan? I know we got to close down these billionaires, stop buying stuff from them. And I've been doing that. I ain't bought nothing since I said that. I haven't bought anything from any of them. I cut down everything. I don't buy nothing really. And since it happened, I haven't bought anything at all. But I still have one of my accounts. I think I have Amazon still. But other than that, I think everything else is gone. It is what it is. But I'm fighting back the best way I know how. And I'll keep telling you what I do and what I find out. Exceptionalism, or am I missing a joke? Yeah, it's exceptionalism. Yeah. I buy the bare minimum. Yeah, just try I mean, everything I used to spend, it don't spend anymore. Uh, Alito, Justice Alito, Thomas, yeah, and the other one, exactly, Jess. They need to be impeached. Because I don't think any judge that literally agreed to give any human being, I don't care who they are, because there's no person above the law. None. And they made Trump above the law? Nah, nah. I understand, and it was already implied that if you are president and you decide to go to war, let's say like Bush did, and it turns out that you were 100% wrong about that war, like Bush was, that you already are immune from being prosecuted for fighting for the country, even if you make a mistake. You had an intel that you went off of. You can be wrong with that. You started a 20-something year war. A lot of people died. You're not going to be charged for that because that's just work. You can get it wrong as far as the country goes to get just work. You don't get charged for it. It's a non-deal. We already knew that. They gave this man immunity on top of that. Like anything he does as president. He could be president and walk up and just shoot somebody and say, you know what, he was threatening me. Oh, you're immune. That's what that was. And they knew better than that. And they did it anyway. That's why I say they need to be impeached, because there's no way on this earth that any human being, president or not, should be breaking laws on purpose, knowing that they can never be charged for it. And they knew that's what they were talking about, because they were trying to keep him out of jail from the crimes he committed as a civilian and say he was immune from it. When they did that, cases were dropped. Why would you do that when the person literally broke laws? He's already immune as a president as to what he's done as a president. If it's for the American people, wars and the like, to protect America's interests, that's a given. But to protect his personal interest, that was never a situation as being a president that you could actually do. You couldn't come out of a government job position and do something on a personal level and then say, I'm under the cloak of being in my government job. No, you're not. That was a personal thing. Your government duties had nothing to do with what you did personally. And that's what blurred the lines that these conservative judges, Supreme Court justices, allowed. And just in that alone, they should be impeached. And I don't understand why Democrats haven't been like going hard at that, even when they had control of the House or the Senate rather. Even when they had control of the House and Senate, that should have been the first thing, but it wasn't then. At the time they did this, they had control of the Senate and not the House, so they couldn't necessarily bring it. But in the House, in the Senate, they could, but it would have died in the Senate, in the House. Did it for power and dirty money. Yeah, you buying at minimum too, Rude? All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate y'all. I'm about to get back to the lab and work on the next project for tomorrow. Put out some content. You guys know I'm here on, of course, YouTube. I appreciate you guys donating to me to keep it going. So I do all the research and do my best here, and I'll start adding more to the platform. Working on membership community. I'm getting used to that. And also gonna have some community lives. I think going live on, I don't know exactly. I haven't picked a date yet for the membership lives, but I'm trying to figure out if we can just have like people come up and talk and connect and do things of that nature. Trying to get that all together, set up, and get the platform set up for that. It's some work that has to go into it, but I'll get that together, and then we can kind of have a little chat session and be able to ask each other questions and come up on the screen and just have a good time. Less formal, more like, just chill and have a good time. Get to know one another. So that's what I'm going to do. And, I'm about to get some merch made that says Truth Bombers, because that's the majority of the members I have. So people who will be a part of the Truth Bombers. And, we're going to come and have a good time and connect. And then, it become a community, help each other out, just like y'all doing already. But I want to get to know y'all a little bit more. So I'm going to do that, get that set up. Give me a couple weeks or so to try and figure out all the bells and whistles. As I said, I don't have a team. It's just me. And I have YouTube as well, YouTube and TikTok as well. Mr. Straight Facts there. I have a Substack, and that's mrstraightfacts.substack.com if you like reading the articles in which I talk about a lot of this content as well. Yeah, so you can follow me in a lot of different places. Blue Sky, I'm there as well. So if Save Wit is here, I'm gonna hit you guys up, you and the other lady that I was talking about on Saturday. But I'll send you an email out this week. Thank you. I appreciate you too. Who just said that? I think it's Benny Loco. I appreciate you too. Keep up the great work. Thank you, One African World. I appreciate you. Fight the power, most definitely. I continue to do that. Love you back, Rude. Benny Loco. Have a good one, Chatland. Thanks everybody for my members and subscribers. Love y'all. And I'll see y'all tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Close by, as I get off work and get here about 5:15 sometimes, but I get there as fast as I can and get back to work. So you guys take it easy. Much love to you. Let me see where I got this set up. It's always a trip for me getting out. Oh, there you go. And I see you when I see you.